Now let's talk about what's involved with installing Active Directory. Now the way you install Active Directory is to basically install it as a server role on a machine, and it's a two-step process. You're going to use the Server Manager to add the AD Domain Services role, and this is just going to click and hum for a few minutes. It'll install the Active Directory Domain Services binaries and all the related management tools. Then once that's done, Server Manager will inform you that you need to now configure Active Directory Domain Services, and that will also promote the server to a domain controller. Now, when you promote a server to a domain controller the first time, it's when you actually install and implement Active Directory and you create a domain and you're in business. And now you can add more domain controllers to that domain. You can add child domains, you can create a new forest, all that sort of stuff can happen. But keep in mind, you're going to implement it as a server role. Now I'm going to hit the Windows key here and jump out to the desktop and open Server Manager and show you how I did this. Again, I'm not going to step you through this whole thing because it'll take too long and you'll just be bored watching this thing wait. But if I just click on Add Roles and Features and just step through the wizard here, it's a role-based, and there's my server. Notice Active Directory Domain Services. I checked this and went through the process of setting that up. Once that was done, when I went to my local server, I got a flag here with a 1, clicked this, and it gave me a link to continue configuring Active Directory, and I just went through the steps. Okay, that will set me up as a domain controller. Now, when you configure Active Directory, and you need to do this a time or two before you go take the exam, set you up a Windows server, and then add the server role for Active Directory Domain Services, then configure it, and just play with it. Notice the options I'm going to see are add a domain controller to an existing domain. Now that works if, let me back up here, if I already have a domain out there, I can see that domain, I can choose it from a list, and then I'll have to satisfy security, and then I will add a domain controller to an existing domain. That's kind of self-explanatory. I can add a new domain to an existing forest. And so this is going to create a domain controller in a new domain or a new domain tree in an existing forest. So this is going to ask me, where's the forest? Where do you want to add this? In a new domain, or do you want a new domain tree? You're just going to answer the questions and it'll set it up. Then I can add a new forest. This will create a new top-level domain in a forest. Now let me give you an alert for the exam here and for the real world. When you install Active Directory, keep in mind you're going to first install Windows Server 2012 on a server, and at that point you have what's called a standalone server. Installing Active Directory and promoting it to a domain controller will delete all local accounts, certificates, cryptographic keys, all that stuff on that server. So if that server's been running a while and you've been encrypting files and folders and so forth, you want to make sure you decrypt that stuff before you install Active Directory, or it's going to become permanently inaccessible. Because when Active Directory is installed, it's going to wipe all that stuff out and set itself up as the management system for that particular server. Now, how do you know if you've got encrypted data or what that data is, where it is? You can go to a command prompt, type cd / to move to the root, and then you can use the efsinfo command to search for encrypted information on your hard drive. Now notice we have put in here, let me just step through this with you, efsinfo /s : and then I put C : because I want to start at the root of the C drive, and then I'm going to find this. I will, is another switch, I won't get into that right now. Then this is the pipe command, the vertical pipe command, and this is going to pipe it out to find encrypted, and you will see the results for any encrypted information that's on that machine. You should run that, watch for that on the exam before you promote something to a domain controller and install Active Directory and so forth, because it's going to destroy that old information. So be very careful with that. But again, Active Directory, two-step process. Add the server role to the box. Then, once that is completed, you'll go into your Server Manager tools. You'll see a task there to complete, and you just go through the steps, answer the questions, do this a time or two before you go sit this exam, and you should be fine.